Whether you know James Sunderland or not, his story is important to you. It's a story of great moral implications that will allow humanity to understand itself just a bit better. In the game of Silent Hill 2, after everything is said and done, I find a question most pressing. After learning the truth of James Sunderland's unspeakable crimes, I find myself asking, in the end, was James Sunderland truly a good man, or was James Sunderland an evil man? Hello you, and welcome to the Okie Vision Show. After receiving a strange letter from his wife, James Sunderland finds himself lured to a strange town where his wife claims to be. A wife whom James believes died only 3 years ago. This impossible letter is what lures James to the town of Silent Hill, a town of hard truths. Across Silent Hill lays a thick, thick fog, but it's a fog that is sentient and alive. Often fog is romanticized. One could daydream for hours in that peaceful, misty haze. But be not fooled. This fog is parasitic, feeding on the minds of the lost souls that find themselves there, daydreams turned into waking nightmares. In this fog, truths are revealed, and in this fog, the truth of James's character will become most clear to us. In Silent Hill, we will search for answers to settle the question of James Sunderland's true character. I offer you the first piece in our puzzle of solving the question of James Sunderland's moral character. All throughout James Sunderland's story is the theme of guilt, and not just the regular type of guilt you may get if you told a friend you'd be there in 10 minutes when you were actually 20 minutes away. Sorry. I mean a nagging, consuming guilt. Remember what I said about the fog. It is sentient, and it feeds on the minds of the lost, unfortunate souls that find themselves trapped in it. And in the case of James, we find ourselves trapped in a waking nightmare. From creatures bound in body bags that puke acidic bile to the more notable villains and the hulking and terrifying figure of Pyramid Head who drags a massive executioner's sword. And don't forget the sexy nurses that contort and twist, and to be totally honest, absolutely annoyed the shit out of me when I was playing this game. Like, I shot you 50 times, I stomped you 10 times, and you still getting back up? Catch the shotgun blast. And at first glance, you may just see terrifying creatures. But these symbolic creatures are mocking James, mocking him with the truth. But you may be asking, why is this the first piece of the puzzle and the question of whether James is an evil person? Well, to answer that question, I ask you, the viewer, a question. Can an evil person ever truly be guilty? Would the devil's offspring, born in blood, taught in wickedness, ever feel guilt? While you answer that question, understand that the guilt that James must toil through in the world of Silent Hill 2 is a haunting and stalking guilt. It is a persecuting guilt. We spend the whole game running from his guilt. Guilt not only manifested in the very monsters that we must run from or fight, but it is manifested in the very fabric of Silent Hill. For example, the locations that we spend the most time in manifest as abandoned apartment complexes, hospitals, prisons, all deteriorating like the mind of James Sunderland, whom these locations mean a lot more to than meets the eye. Not only locations, but the audio itself is saturated in breathing and groaning and sounds that can only be described as metallic terror. Industrial sounds that haunt your ears as James is stalked by physical manifestations of his own guilt. But even as James runs from his guilt, it seems we are on a trajectory towards the truth, a trajectory that just can't be stopped. But maybe guilt is not enough to wash James of his sins, and so I offer you another piece of the puzzle. More than guilt, James experiences punishment. Humans often feel that to rectify an evil deed, an equal or worse punishment should be inflicted on the perpetrator, and for our more religious crowds, an eternal punishment is warranted. What is James Sunderland's story if not the ultimate punishment? Not only must James experience the obvious physical punishments such as the blunt strikes from the nurse's pipes and the occasional two-piece combo from these four-legged lurking creatures, but James experiences existential punishment, fear to the 100th degree. The inner world of James's psyche being physically manifested as dark, long hallways, whispers behind doors, lurking strange creatures reminding James of traumas he wished he let go. If that isn't a punishment fit for the worst of us, I don't know what is. But I wonder, is the physical torture and pain that James experiences enough to deliver him from evil? Can punishment ever truly strip from someone of their evil ways, their inner darkness, their unsightly actions? This question is more important than you think, because answering this question will reveal more than just the verdict of James's character, but it will reveal truth about your own character. Your answer will expose the way you think evil ought to be dealt with. If you're religious but you don't think punishment can truly deliver the soul from evil, then what's the purpose of hell beyond pointless pain? And for those not religious, what do those punishments you wish to inflict on criminals do beyond satisfy your own thirst for the pain of others? That all hinges on whether you believe punishment can truly deliver a human from evil. Now, many of you who have not played Silent Hill may find themselves lost, wondering what James could have done to warrant being thrown into a world of nightmares. I intentionally hid this from you, as it was hidden from those who played the game. But now I will reveal to you exactly what James is guilty of. Remember when I started this journey by telling you that James had received a letter from his wife beckoning him to Silent Hill to find her? His wife, whom he is convinced died only 3 years ago. Yeah, about that. This is where everything I have asked you comes into play. When I tell you the crime of James Sunderland, you must apply all that we have learned together, and this will help decide on whether James Sunderland is an evil man or a good man. James Sunderland's wife was sick, and not sick with the flu or something mild, but terminally sick, dying and decaying and on her last breath. This sickness, however, didn't just slowly take Mary's life, it began to take her, who she was as a person. She lashed out, she'd hurt those around her, and who could blame her as the disease stripped from her her dignity and youth?
Why are you still here? I told you to go. Get the hell out of here. Leave me alone already.
James, being her husband, suffered through this tough time with her as much as he could bear, taking the insults, being there for her, worrying about her, never wanting to leave her side. But at some point, it became too much for James, for many reasons, from having to watch his wife in pain as she faded away, to more selfish reasons of James feeling tied to a sinking ship, wanting to be cut loose, wanting his life back. In a rage backed by everything James had felt throughout this entire ordeal with his wife, he takes a pillow and he smothers his own wife, ending her life.
The truth is, I hated you. I wanted you out of the way. I wanted my life back.
If that's true, then why do you look so sad?
More disturbing than the truth of James's actions is the realization that she hadn't died 3 years ago, as we the player were led to believe. It was more likely that she had died mere hours or a few days prior to him receiving this letter. But I'm curious what your verdict is now. Is James Sunderland an evil man? At the start of our journey, I posed two choices, evil or good. Either he is an evil man who couldn't control his evil and in a selfish rage commits an unspeakable crime, revealing what he truly is, a hate-filled man with a cold heart. Or James is a good man. A man who suffered so much from watching his own wife fade away that he took it in his own hands to put an end to her suffering, an act of mercy. And the events of Silent Hill is him coming to terms with losing someone whom he loved deeply. Which one is the truth? Well, maybe there's a third option. Maybe James is neither good nor evil. Maybe James is a victim of what we all are victims of, our own passions, our own humanity, our own emotions. James faces guilt and pain after his wife's death. He wouldn't be in Silent Hill if that weren't the case, and no man truly evil would suffer such an ordeal. James loved his wife deeply, that much is clear, but he also resented her, and this resentment culminated in a heinous action that scarred him deeply. Although the action itself is clearly evil, it doesn't make James an evil person, but he isn't a good person either, for the love he had for his wife. And that's the point of James's story. He is just human. I want to ask the viewer, in those small moments where you maybe punch a wall, throw something across the room, feel in your heart hatred for another because of some way they may have offended you, or feel in your heart the want to either passive-aggressively get at someone or just plain aggressively get at someone, don't you think those places that the emotions come from are exactly the same place James came from when he committed the action that sent him spiraling? In this journey to understand James Sunderland's character, we have also come to learn truths about ourselves, truths about our own humanity. And in answering the question of James Sunderland's character, we reveal more about the way we see the world and our place in it. So I ask, next time you're asked a question about humanity, be sure that you're taking a second to really think before you speak, because your answer might just condemn you in ways deeper than you realize. Stay tuned for the next Oculophoric Oki Vision video program. Join the Oki Vision Club, hit the sub, and I'll be seeing you soon. Bye-bye.
In my restless dreams, I see that town. Silent Hill. You promised you'd take me there again someday, but you never did.